been said. And
for the first time, I feel free.
Sam Pham from the new original Lifetime movie, I Was Honey Boo Boo. Please welcome Alana Thompson to the show.
For weeks, the world has waited for news. After a sudden and tragic accident, Tony Boo Boo, a beloved public figure, vanished from the spotlight. Rumors and speculation have filled the void, painting a grim picture. His partner, Honey Boo Boo, has remained silent, guarding their privacy during an unimaginable time. But today, that silence was broken. Honey Boo Boo stepped forward to face the world, to share the story of what happened, and to reveal the true extent of Tony's condition. What you are about to see is the full, unedited press conference. It's a story of shock, of heartbreak, and of a small but powerful glimmer of hope. Stay tuned and watch the entire video patiently, because in today's video, I am Erwin, will discuss the real story. Hey everyone, welcome back to Boo Boo Update. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button for all the latest updates on Mama June family. Today, we've got something exciting to talk about, Honey Boo Boo family. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. So grab a seat and let's dive right in. I know it's been a while. I apologize for the silence. The truth is, there are no words, no press releases, no prepared statements that can adequately capture the chasm that has opened up in our lives. When something like this happens, your world doesn't just change, it shatters. And you're left standing in the rubble, trying to figure out which pieces are which, and if any of them can ever fit back together again. I'm here today because the speculation, the rumors, they've become a second storm raging outside the hospital walls, and I can't let that storm breach the peace that Tony needs. That we need. You deserve to hear the truth. And frankly, I need to say it. I need to give voice to this, to make it real, so that we can begin to navigate what comes next. Everyone has been asking, how is Tony? It's the first thing I hear from our family, our friends, and it's in every message I see online. I'm so grateful for that concern. It's a testament to the man he is, to the light he brings into this world. And the simple answer is, Tony's condition is not very good. That is the hard truth. That is the reality we wake up to every single morning, and the one that haunts our sleep every night. He has suffered a severe traumatic brain injury. Those are the words the doctors used. Severe. Traumatic. Words that feel like physical blows. When you hear them, you picture the worst. Your mind races, creating a highlight reel of every moment you ever shared, and you're suddenly terrified that you're watching the final credits roll. I want to take you back. I feel like I need to explain how we got here. It wasn't a dramatic public event. It was a Tuesday. A completely, painfully normal Tuesday. The kind of day you live 1,000 times and never remember. We were at home. Tony was fixing that loose gutter that had been bugging him for weeks. He loved fixing things. He had this belief that anything, if you were patient enough and gentle enough, could be mended. A leaky faucet, a wobbly chair, a broken heart. He was on a ladder. It was secure. He was careful. He was always so careful. I was inside making lunch. I heard a sound. It wasn't loud. It was a dull thud. The kind of sound that doesn't immediately register as danger. Maybe a bag of soil fell over in the garden. Maybe a neighbor's dog knocked something over. But then there was silence. And the silence was louder than the thud. It was a heavy, absolute silence. I knew. I don't know how, but in my soul I knew. I ran outside. And I saw him. Lying on the grass. The ladder was on its side a few feet away. For a second, a single, blissful, ignorant second, I thought maybe he just slipped and was winded. I called his name. Tony. He didn't answer. I ran to him, and the image of what I saw will never leave me. It's burned onto the back of my eyelids. He wasn't moving. His eyes were open, but they weren't seeing. They were just vacant. The next hour was a blur of sirens and paramedics and questions I couldn't answer. Everything moved in slow motion and at 1,000,000 miles per hour all at once. I remember holding his hand in the ambulance, and it was so warm. I just kept thinking, as long as his hand is warm, he's okay. As long as he's warm, he's still here. He's still my Tony. The hospital. It's a strange place, isn't it? A building full of the best and worst moments of people's lives, all happening at the same time. For us, it was the worst. We were taken to a small, quiet room. A family room, they called it. A room designed for bad news. It had soft chairs and bad art on the walls, and all I could think was, how many lives have fallen apart in this room? The lead neurosurgeon came in, Dr. Evans, a kind woman with tired eyes that told me she had sat in this room many times before. She didn't waste time with pleasantries. She pulled up a scan of Tony's brain on a tablet. It was a confusion of black, white, and gray. And then she pointed to these cloudy white patches, like smoke trapped inside the image. This, she said, is the primary issue. We're seeing what's called a diffuse axonal injury, or DAI. I had no idea what that meant. It just sounded violent. She explained it to me with a patience I will be forever grateful for. She said to imagine the brain not as a single object, but as a vast, incredibly complex telephone network. Billions and billions of wires, or axons, carrying messages at lightning speed. It's how you think, how you move, how you feel, how you remember who you are. She explained that when the head stops suddenly, as it does in a fall, the brain itself keeps moving, sloshing inside the skull. This creates shearing forces. The telephone wires are stretched, twisted, and torn apart on a microscopic level. It's not one single point of damage you can just go in and fix. It's everywhere. Diffuse. A citywide blackout where countless wires have been severed all at once. That's the diffuse axonal injury. It's why he was unconscious. The communication network that makes Tony Tony had been catastrophically disrupted. But there was more. She then pointed to a darker, more concentrated spot. And this, she said, is a contusion. A bruise on the brain in the left frontal lobe. This area is responsible for personality, for problem solving, for speech. She didn't need to finish. The implications were hanging there in the air, thick and suffocating. So we have two battles being fought inside his head. One is this widespread, microscopic damage that is affecting everything. The other is a focused injury in the very part of the brain that governs his personality, his essence. The doctor told us that patients with severe DAI often remain in a coma, or a vegetative state. She had to be honest about the statistics. The prognosis was grim. She used that word, grim. In those first 72 hours, it was all about survival. His brain was swelling, a natural response to injury, but inside the rigid confines of the skull, swelling can be fatal. They had to put him into a medically induced coma to lower his brain's metabolic rate, to give it a chance to rest, to reduce the pressure. They drilled a small hole in his skull to insert a monitor, a device that gave us a constant, terrifying number. The pressure inside his head. We watched that number like it was the only thing that mattered in the world. Because it was, days bled into one another. The ICU became our home. The constant rhythmic beeping of the machines became our soundtrack. You learn the language of the ICU. You learn which beeps are normal, and which ones make your heart leap into your throat. You learn the names of the nurses, their shift schedules. They become your lifeline. You learn to find comfort in the smallest things, a stable blood pressure reading, a peaceful look on his face, the simple act of holding that same warm hand I held in the ambulance. And through all of it, I talked to him. The nurses encouraged it. They said he might be able to hear. So I talked. I read to him from his favorite books. I played his favorite music. I told him about my day, about the ridiculous price of hospital coffee. I told him about the messages we were getting from all of you. I just kept talking, sending my voice into the silence, hoping one of my words would find its way through the static, through the severed wires, and reach him. For 3 weeks, nothing changed. The pressure was stable, but he remained in the coma. He was breathing with the help of a ventilator. He was being fed through a tube. He was alive, but he wasn't there. The doctors were cautious, realistic. They started to gently prepare us for long-term decisions we never imagined we would have to make. And then, something happened. It was last Friday. It was late, around 2 a.m. I was in the chair next to his bed, half asleep. One of his nurses, a wonderful man named David, was doing his routine checks, and I was holding Tony's hand. Just holding it like I always do. And I was talking to him, telling him a silly story about our first date, about how he spilled wine all over my white shirt and was so mortified he tried to clean it with a breadstick. And as I was telling that story, I felt it. A squeeze. It was so faint. I thought I imagined it. I stopped talking. My heart was pounding. I looked at his hand in mine. It was just lying there. I thought it was a muscle spasm. Don't get your hopes up. Don't do this to yourself. But then I said his name. Tony? Tony, if you can hear me, squeeze my hand. And I waited. And the seconds stretched into an eternity. Nothing. My heart sank. Of course, I thought. It was just a twitch. But then it happened again. This time, a little stronger. A definite, undeniable pressure around my fingers. It wasn't a spasm. It was a response. I screamed for the nurse. David came running in. I told him what happened, babbling, probably not making any sense. He was calm. He spoke to Tony. He said, "Tony, we're going to try something. I'm going to touch your right foot. If you can feel that, try to wiggle your toes." And we watched. And we waited. And then, under the blanket, the faintest, smallest movement. A wiggle of his big toe. I burst into tears. David, the nurse, had tears in his eyes too. In the sterile, quiet world of the ICU, it was a miracle. It was the shot heard round the world. It didn't mean he was waking up. It didn't mean he was okay, but it meant something. It meant he was in there. That was the good news. That was the some good news the doctor gave us. When Dr. Evans came in the next morning, she explained what it signified. She said, "This is the first sign of purposeful movement. It's not a reflex. It's a command being sent from his brain and being received. It tells us that some of those pathways, some of those telephone lines, are not completely severed. Some are damaged, but they are trying to work. They are trying to rear out the signal." She used another analogy. She said to imagine a massive earthquake has destroyed all the major highways into a city. The city is isolated. But this movement, this is a sign that a few people on bicycles have found a small, winding back road and have managed to get a message out. It's not a truck. It's not a convoy. But it's a message. It's proof of life. It's communication. Since that day, we've had more. Small things, but they are our world now. A flutter of his eyelids when I speak. A slight turn of his head towards the sound of his favorite song. These are not grand gestures. To an outsider, they would be almost imperceptible. But to us, they are everything. They are the foundation upon which we are building our hope. So when I say his condition is not very good, I mean that the city is still devastated. The highways are still gone. The damage is vast and life-altering. He is not waking up tomorrow. He is not going to just sit up and be the Tony we all knew. The injury is severe. But when I say there is good news, I mean that we know there are survivors in the city. They are clever and resilient, and they are finding new ways to send out signals. And our job now is to do everything in our power to help them rebuild. The doctors have been able to wean him off the sedatives that kept him in the medically induced coma. He is now in what they call a minimally conscious state. He has cycles of sleep and wakefulness. His eyes open, and sometimes they can track movement. This is a significant step up from a coma or a vegetative state. It's another sign on the long road of recovery. What does this road look like? It's long. It's uncertain. and it is paved with a type of work I never knew existed. The next step is to move him from the ICU to a specialized neurorehabilitation facility, a place where every single day will be about trying to rebuild those connections in his brain. The brain has an incredible ability to heal, a property called neuroplasticity. It can reroute pathways. It can learn new ways of doing things. The parts of the brain that are undamaged can be trained to take over for the parts that are lost. It will involve hours upon hours of physical therapy to prevent his muscles from atrophying, occupational therapy to try and relearn the basic tasks of daily living, speech therapy to see if we can coax words from the part of his brain that was bruised. And I will be there for every single step. I will be his cheerleader, his coach, his advocate, and his memory for as long as it takes. I will be the one holding his hand, looking for that squeeze, celebrating every tiny victory, because that is what love is. It's not just about the sunny days on the beach. It's about holding the flashlight in the darkest, deepest cave and never, ever giving up on finding a way out. I'm telling you all of this with such detail because I want people to understand the reality of a brain injury. It's not like a broken bone that gets set in a cast and heals in 6 weeks. It is a marathon. It's a fundamental rewriting of a person's life and the lives of everyone who loves them. The Tony who comes back to us may not be the same Tony who climbed that ladder on a sunny Tuesday. And we have to be ready to love this new Tony just as fiercely. We have to make a new life, a new normal, and find joy within it. And that brings me to all of you. The outpouring of love, of support, of prayers has been a lifeboat for me and our family. In the moments when I felt like I was drowning in grief and fear, I would look at my phone and see thousands of messages from people all over the world, sharing their own stories of hope, telling me not to give up. You have no idea how much that has meant. You have been holding the light for us when our own was flickering. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Please don't stop. We need it. Tony needs it. And to Tony and my love, if you are hearing this someday, on a recording years from now, I want you to know that you are the strongest person I have ever known. You are a fighter, and you are not fighting alone. I am here. We are all here, and we will wait for you, for as long as it takes. We love you. I will try to answer a few of your questions. Tony, thank you for your bravery in sharing this. Can you tell us if the doctors have given you any indication of the potential percentage of recovery? What is the best case scenario you're hoping for? Tony Boo Boo, thank you. The doctors are very hesitant to use words like best case or to talk in percentages. With a brain injury, especially a diffuse one like Tony's, the spectrum of outcomes is incredibly wide. There is no crystal ball. The best case we are focusing on right now is continued progress. The best case for tomorrow is another intentional movement. The best case for next week is for him to be able to track my face with his eyes consistently. We've had to recalibrate what best means. Right now, best is any step forward, no matter how small. Our ultimate hope, our dream, is to bring him home one day. In what capacity, we don't know. But just to have him home. Reporter 2. Has there been any discussion about what Tony would have wanted in this situation? Had you ever discussed long-term care or living wills? Tony Boo Boo. That's a difficult question. We are young. You never think you need to have those conversations. But Tony, he was always so full of life. He squeezed every drop out of every day. And I know with every fiber of my being that he would want to fight. He would want every chance, no matter how small. As long as there is a spark of him in there, as long as he is fighting, we will fight for him. This is not a conversation about ending care. This is a conversation about starting the hardest work of our lives. But I urge everyone listening, have these conversations with your loved ones. Please. You never know when a normal Tuesday will turn into this. Reporter 3. Tony, the financial cost of this kind of long-term care can be astronomical. Has that become a concern for you and your family? And is there any way the public can help? Tony Boo Boo. I won't lie, it's overwhelming. We are fortunate to have insurance, but we're quickly learning how much it doesn't cover in terms of specialized long-term neurorehabilitation. Our focus has been on Tony's immediate health, but the financial reality is a storm cloud on the horizon. Our family has started a fund, not just for us, but with the goal of eventually helping other families who are blindsided by this. The details are on our official social media pages. Any support is a blessing, but truly, the emotional support, the prayers, the good energy, that is the fuel we are running on right now. That is priceless. Honey Boo Boo. I think I have the strength for one more. Reporter 4. How are you doing, Honey? You're carrying an immense burden. How are you taking care of yourself? Thank you for asking that. I'm not doing great, but I am doing okay. I have moments of profound sadness and fear, but I also have moments of hope, fueled by that hand squeeze, that toe wiggle. I'm learning that it's possible to hold both grief and hope in your hands at the same time. They are not mutually exclusive. My family, my friends, they are making sure I eat. They are making sure I sleep, even if it's just for an hour in a hospital chair. I'm strong because Tony needs me to be strong. We are strong because you are all helping to hold us up. That's all I have for today. Thank you. A powerful, heartbreaking, and ultimately hopeful account from Honey Boo Boo. A story that reminds us how fragile life is and how in an instant, everything can change. The road ahead for Tony Boo Boo is long and uncertain, but as Honey made clear today, it is a road he will not walk alone. Our thoughts, and we're sure the thoughts of so many of you, are with Honey, Tony, and their entire family during this incredibly difficult time. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my YouTube Chanel Boo Boo update. Thank you for watching.